said. Life was busy, and, like for most people, tough to manage. Do you really think it's here? Abigail didn't answer. He was about to ask the question again, but stayed silent and listened. The only thing he heard besides the gentle breeze was his wife's heavy breathing. She was out cold. Gently, he laid her down and stood, letting her use his own rolled sleeping bag as a pillow. He breathed in deeply and sighed, enjoying the pleasant and refreshingly cool air. It smelled like nature. He loved it. After 13 years in the United States Navy, Ian had retired and moved to Australia with his wife, Dr. Abigail Hunt. Eventually, the two made their way to South Africa, where they live now. Abigail specialized in a very controversial field, learning under the renowned Dr. Catherine Forster at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. The study of dinosaur bird evolution was, at first, a very debated one. But as the years went by, and as more information became available, it began to make more and more sense. But it was something Ian had a hard time buying into. Like so many in their field, Abigail and her mentor, Dr. Forster, believed that the dinosaurs in the Paravase clade eventually evolved into birds and flew away. It reminded Ian of Dr. Alan Grant's speech at the beginning of Jurassic Park, when he gave the same explanation to a group of onlookers. Ian especially enjoyed the part when Grant threatened that bratty kid with his fossilized raptor claw. Though after seeing the series of movies a dozen times or so, Ian had to admit that a good portion of dinosaurs sort of did look like turkeys. Just like Chubbs said to Dr. Grant. When Ian and Abigail went on their first date, she told him about her studies, exhibiting the passion she still showed for it to this day. His initial reaction was to laugh in her face, exactly like those same bystanders did at the beginning of the movie. 15 years of marriage had forced him into becoming an unwilling expert on the subject, too. She'd bounce her hypotheses off him daily, and he'd always give his real-world responses. Ian was just a normal guy with a normal way of thinking. Which is why Ian thought the ramblings of a senile old fool from one of the villages that bordered the rise of the rocks in Madagascar was just that. Ramblings. But after some serious digging and a few very long-distance phone calls, Abigail theorized that the hybrid of the two animals did, in fact, exist, and they lived within the Andringitra Massif. The coot said that he'd heard a set of screeching calls 6 months ago, soon after a series of small tremors occurred. The man would regularly poke around the rocks, searching for lost valuables. Hikers routinely lost things, and Yakko, yes, like the Animaniacs character, would scour the many crevices for the sellable goods. He said the noise sounded like a giant bird, but with hate in its throat. Whatever the hell that means. Hefting his tactical shotgun on his shoulder, Ian felt confident in his ability to take down such a creature, if it actually existed. He hoped it did, too. It was Abigail's life work, and he wanted nothing but the best for her. She worked for the Museum Africa back in the Newtown precinct of South Africa. She hoped this discovery would land her a job as the building's new curator. It had been her dream job since she was a kid. Ian's dream job ended when he got shot in the Middle East, fighting the war on terror. He survived, but his close call with death forced him to call it quits and come home to his hot-ass babe of a wife. He complained for all of 10 minutes. Now he was her unofficial research assistant, and more importantly, her private security chief. His new job was to keep her hot ass safe. They traveled the world together. They'd been to some perilous places over the years. Thankfully, Madagascar wasn't one of them. Yes, like all countries, especially some of the ones in Africa, there were pockets of threats. Ian gripped his shotgun harder. That was when he was at his best. As a former Navy SEAL, Ian was an extremely competent person while under duress. He never flinched or lost his nerve.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.